Okay, so here we are, one more time. Um, this is the first real as real can get recording, and it is a real one because hopefully I can be heard clearly. As the previous recordings, the microphone was too close to my face, and every sound that came out of my throat was distorted. And now, with all the technological mishaps eliminated, hopefully, sort of, we can begin. Hello world, my name is Chili Chill. First name Chili, last name Chill. First name Chili is, as you can imagine, is self-given. It was given to me by myself in honor of Chili Palmer, who is a character in a movie Get Shorty. He is more of a gangster person who decides to make movies, and he wants to get Danny DeVito in his movies because Danny DeVito is somebody. And I am a film watcher and a film maker, thus a film appreciator and a lover. I'm not too much of a pundit on movies, but I got my own solid opinion, which is not really solidified, but it is my opinion about what's what and who's who and what's really going on out there in the movie world and in the world in general. So, the show is called Art and Life, and it took me quite a few minutes or hours to come up with a name for the show because I wanted to name it very condensedly, precisely, accurately, on a dot about what I want to talk about. And suddenly I understood that if I name my show Art and Life, this basically all there is existing that can be talked about anything, because we're living this life and everything that involves in this life is life, and every particle of this life that we live in is art, and life itself is an art, and everything has some sort of creation in it, and with creation comes a piece of heart, because people put small piece of their heart into everything that they do. No matter how small, it's still there. Me and my friend Rich were talking about this morning at the Tai Chi class, and he said that in art and real art there has to be heart. And I told him that, well, there's heart everywhere. He says, not really, because some electricians came to his house and they set up the fuses in such a way that it's really hard for him to get to them, and they did it on purpose because they're heartless. Yeah, it's kind of funny. And maybe these guys were rather heartless in setting up the fuses impossible for an ordinary person to get to, so they can call them up and they could come and get their money for coming over and change the little fuses. But if even a con artist is an artist. Ah, the art of living. The art of living begins with the first breath. Or does it? What is life? What is life? Death is a part of life. Death is a part of life. Death is not life, is it? And life is not death. Is life a part of death? What is this death? What is this life? The mysteries, the questions that have no answers. There are no secrets, ultimately. But for now, there's a secret or two. Like, what is really going on behind closed doors? And what do the president is hiding in his closet? Yeah, really, these presidents, tell the truth, it is my honest opinion, and this is an honest opinion, that the job of an American president is to be as evil as possible and to get away. See, that's like the greatest con job ever, is to be a United States president, because they have to appear as good but do the most evil just to the world and to the environment and to everything. It's like, how much evil can you get away with? That's the job of the president, to get away with as much evil as he can get away with and help all his evil friends to get away with. It's like, But again, this is just my opinion, and my opinion is not anyone else's opinion. So if people disagree, they can come to my show and talk to me in person. And maybe one day there'll be a phone up here, but right now there is no phone. There's just me talking, and I will talk. And talk I will, and talk I shall. And talk is all there is right now, because this is a talk show. And maybe in the future I'll bring my iPod. Well, it won't be an iPod. I don't have an iPod. I got this little skimpy thing that I can plug in here, but I don't have it with me right now. And maybe in the future I will have it, and I'll plug it in, and I can put on some really strange tunes. Until I do that, you can listen to me chanting. I am usually working as a human didgeridoo, full-time, 24/7 actually, more than full-time. Recently I discovered that this human didgeridoo thing is fun and exciting, and I get a lot of energy from it. And I've met this guy at in Madison who was just phenomenal. And I saw a bunch of throat singers from Tua who are just magnificent. So getting a few lessons in this thing, I am perfecting an art that is called throat singing. So bear with me. Alright, that's enough for now. This thing I am working on, and it's not perfected, but as the saying goes, practice does make perfect. Matter of fact, speaking of the saying, Buddha, and I'm a Buddhist, Buddha says, don't believe in Buddha, believe in practice. Practice makes perfect. You practice the wisdom, you get someplace, you start understanding things. You don't need no books or teachers to tell you things, because your eyes, your own inherent wisdom is the best teacher that you can find. It is your only teacher, matter of fact, because everything else is the outside from self, and when you look inside yourself, you see that you're just a reflection of the world that surrounds you. Are we the pearl, or are we the oyster that makes the pearl, or the pearl that's made by the oyster? Are we the pearl of the world, or the world that makes the pearl? So I was chanting an old Tibetan mantra. It's not really Tibetan, it's I got it through Tibetan Nyingma school of thought, but the mantra is old by itself. It doesn't belong to Nyingma or Gelugpa or anybody else. It's just words of power. How's that? Power, words of energy. Energy is power. What is not energy? What is not energy? I don't know. So everything is energy, and sound is energy, and all energy is different. Different vibrations of energy produce different effects. Like some produce this radio, some produce TV, some produce solidity, some produce liquid form. It's all energy, it's all waves, and all waves have some sort of power, because one wave affects everything else, other waves. So a mantra is a collection of sounds that has been proven to affect reality somehow through conscious awareness of it. I mean, our unconscious is vast, and it is affected through words. Look at your thoughts. Where do your thoughts come from? But the outside words. Before you were thinking, you were not thinking. Then you saw TV, your parents, and the thoughts enters your mind, and other people's words became your thoughts, and your thoughts became your actions. And so the mantra that I was chanting is Om Mani Padme Hum Hri, and it is commonly known in its shorter version of Om Mani Padme Hum, but in me receiving this mantra, I've got the extra syllable Hri in it because of the meaning of the mantra. Basically, the meaning of the word, it's syllable Hri. Basically, each syllable has its meaning, and loosely said, Om Mani Padme Hum means out of this deathlessness and creation arises a jewel inside a lotus. Basically, in reality, it's just a collection of words. It's not really a sentence, but there's some sort of meaning in it. And Hri, then, means the essence of. So it's like Om means beyond reality, this primordial ocean of uncreated manifestation, which is like what the great integrity is in Taoism, and I suppose Christ consciousness or something in Christianity. I'm not really sure about Christian thought, because Christianity is full of reality, and it's really hard to talk about non-dual thought when it comes to something which is rather made dualistic. But in essence, all religion arises from the same source, which is non-dualistic. So, yeah, religions is a hard thing to do. Religions is the hard thing to do. So Om is this ocean of space. It's empty. It is not here. It's not there. It's everywhere. And some people call it God, but I can't call it God. God is just too narrow. It's too shallow of a word to describe it. Om is just Om. If you shut up and listen to the sound in your right ear, that is very, very small, it's always there, it sounds Om. Om. It's the sound of emptiness. You gotta listen, you gotta hear it to know. With me personally, my right ear is busted. Somebody stepped on it and broke my inner ear bone, and so this Om in my right ear is very loud. It's very, very loud. People call it tendonitis. Job provide, I get me 10 G's and do me an operation, fix this sucker up. But until then, anyways, I don't want to complain, I don't want to cry. I've been living with this thing for 4 years, and trust me, no matter what happens, and tragedies strike us at all times, all kinds of different tragedies, turmoils. No matter what happens, life still goes on, and life as it is good. Just the basic quality of life being there is good. Even a shitty life is better than no life, because no life, that's it. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing. No life. But to tell you the truth, if let's say I was sitting in jail in a solitary confinement for 5 years, going crazy, I would rather be dead than to go crazy like that. But me being a meditator, I would probably enjoy it somehow, sitting in this jail cell for 5 years because I would be meditating. But people who don't meditate, they have really tough time. I recommend to everybody to meditate. Learn meditation. There's a lot of different meditations. After you get to a point where you're having a good time, just sitting there looking at the wall, everything else becomes so much brighter and better. It's like being on cocaine or something. I don't know about cocaine. People say everything becomes more brighter, but I don't know. Maybe it's like it's being on some kind of a drug. I'm drunk with life, intoxicated with breath. So, in my previous episode, I talked about Tao Te Ching, but it was awfully bad sounding. So right now I'm gonna read the same poem again and get into it again. Maybe try to memorize it. I wish I could memorize things, but let's see what we got. We got verse number 1. One more time. Transcending. The Tao that can be told is not the universal Tao. The name that cannot be named is not the universal name. In the infancy of the universe, there were no names. Naming fragments the mysteries of life into 10,000 things and their manifestations. Yet mysteries and manifestations spring from the same source, the great integrity, which is the mystery within manifestation, the manifestation within mystery. The naming of the unnamed and the unnaming of the named. When these interpretations are in full attendance, we will pass the gates of naming notions in our journey towards transcendence. I could read this over and over and over again. The meaning is infinite. And as you understand the meaning, because I'm pretty sure if you listen to the words and you think about them, it's not that hard to understand what the poem says. The poem says it really, really basically and precisely what it means. But to penetrate this meaning and to start noticing it in every aspect of life is not hard at all, but it takes practice. And it takes repetition. So often do I read this first poem to myself, to others, and think about it, and try to understand it deeper. Try to understand the ununderstandable. Trying to label the unlabelable. Doesn't make sense, does it? Thinking about this doesn't work, just putting other labels on something. But through understanding it and seeing what the words say, seeing the meaning of them, not just in the poem, but in everyday actions and interactions with the world, between people and objects, and just how the world goes and flows. That's what's important. If we were just saw words for words and skip the meaning of them, there would be nothing but misunderstanding, and nothing would happen, and there would be no progress. But the world is progressing. The world is progressing someplace, and I'm not sure where that place is. As I look at this world, all I see is that there's so much beauty in it, and innocence, and just good people. But also there's this dark force that does not care for life. It just cares for itself. It is the egoism. It is the materialism. People of old, not all people, but some people of old have called it Babylon. Babylon came from this term Babylon, the one I'm referring to, came from the New Testament book of Revelations. They say Babylon is the queen of all sin. She's the harlot. She's like the abomination. She gives birth to abominations. Like, let's say, the Tao, the great integrity, gives birth to transcendence. Babylon gives birth to ignorance and selfishness, egoism, materialism, death. You know, like the soul, it cannot really die, but if you have enough death inside of it, that it is death pointed. It's pointed into death. So it thinks about death. It wants to kill itself, but it's killing everything around it because it's pointed at death. The government is a machine. It is not alive. Not our government, just government in general. Any machine, organization, institution is a machine. It is not alive. It needs energy to live, but it is death itself. Because life is not structured. Life is unconventional. There is no borders in life. Life just fluctuates. It goes, it moves, and it is. It goes with the wind, with the flow. But death is like, Well, I'm still working out on these concepts. So, if you guys listening to me talking out loud about what I'm thinking about, bear with me. All I say here is just opinion based. Sometimes I might state some facts and truths, but how honest and truthful they are is for you to decide. I personally, I don't know anything. I don't want to know anything. I go by this book, The Tao Te Ching, and it's a good book. And I see myself as more of like a toddler of it. Not a baby already, you know. Like baby that know nothing. Toddler know a little bit. Yeah. So this is a good book. This is like a Bible for me, Tao Te Ching. Another really good book is called Dhammapada. I'll bring it up here too and we'll read from it. And for now, let's read the second verse of the Tao Te Ching. Verse number 2 is called Relativity. We know beauty because there's ugly. We know good because there's evil. Being and not being, having and not having, create each other. Difficult and easy, long and short, high and low, define each other, just as before and after follow each other. The dialectic of sound gives voice to music, always transforming is from was, as the ancestors of to be. The wise teach without telling, allow without commanding, have without possessing, care without claiming. In this way we harvest internal importance because we never announce it. Lao Tzu was a wise man. So, let's dissect it a little bit. I wish I had more people talking. My show is up here every Tuesday, 3:30 to 6. Yeah, 6. Come by. We'll talk Tao. We'll talk anything else. Talk art. We'll talk life. So what we have here? We know beauty because there is ugly. We know good because there is evil. If there was no evil, how would we know what good is? If there was no ugly, how would we know what beauty is? Being and not being, having and not having create each other. That's what's up. They are of each other. Right is of left, left is of right. If there would not be left, there would not be right. Just because there's a right, there is a left. So everything dualistic creates itself. Dualism is. So we have difficult and easy, long and short, high and low, define each other just as before and after follow each other. In a dualistic world, there is nothing but duality. The dialectic of sound gives voice to music, always transforming is from was, as the ancestors of to be. So in right now, in this present moment in time, we have the past. It's there, it's present and right now. And what will be is also present in this moment. In entirety, this moment has all three times: past, present, and future. This poem doesn't talk about the fourth time, which is time out of time, time of possible, just uncreated time, time of imagination. But that's like really high physics, logics. So let's see. The wise teach without telling. Silence is the best teacher. Allow without commanding. Let things take its turn. Let go of desire. Have without possessing. Everything you have what you need right now. Everything that comes to you, you will eventually lose. Be satisfied with what you got, and you'll grow in wisdom. Care without claiming. When you care because you have to care, that's a false caring. When you care just because you care, because it's natural to you, you do not need to claim. Oh, look at me, I care. I've got a big ego. No, no ego, just love. You don't need to possess. You don't need to claim something as you. Just be yourself. In this way we harvest eternal importance because we never announce it. There you go. You don't need to proclaim anything. You just harvest that which is important. Life and art. Art and life. In life there's art, and in art there's so much life. With this life, see art around you and think in a lively and artistic way. Have a beautiful day and a peaceful night. Chiri Chill is coming to an end of his fourth show, and soon enough he will stop counting the shows, because this is just a show. It doesn't have a number. It has a topic sort of, which is loose, and it's always the same. Life and art, art and life. Can it get simpler than this? I hope so. I hope so. But we'll see. If you got an opinion, come by. We'll talk about it. If you got something that you don't agree with me, call in while we have a phone. We'll talk about it. Until that time comes, enjoy life and enjoy art. Oh.